Mark your calendars for Nintendo Chit Chat late at night with Eddy Ray. Coming soon, Saturday, May 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nintendo Chit Chat late at night, a new experience for you guys. Podcast straight ahead. Hang tight. Alright, and welcome guys, we are here live. It is time for the Nintendo Chit Chat podcast. The Minute Gaming News, I am Eddy Ray. And this is episode number 19, and Garage is the title tonight. Of course, Garage, we spoke about in a podcast or two back, but it has been launched on the Nintendo Switch eShop. Available right now. It goes for $14.99. This is a pretty cool looking game. It's a bloody shooter in the style of an 80s B movie. So you're playing as a drug dealer named Butch, and you gotta fight against hordes of the living dead. Looks pretty awesome. So today's title is Garage. Check it out right now in the Switch eShop. We got a lot of news to discuss today. Lots of biggies too. Big things happening. We got Samantha on board here in a little while. Don't forget our podcast, guys, is available. iTunes, Google Play Music, Player FM, SoundCloud, and much more. Audio only. And we have our Nintendo Chit Chat late at night show coming up as well. A little plug for that. That's coming up on Saturday, May 26th, 6 o'clock East Coast time. We also have a new segment in the show tonight. Your questions directly submitted to us. We'll be answering 4 of them tonight. To get a question of yours on the next podcast, possibly, you can email us your questions, gaming related, of course, to NintendoChitChat@gmail.com, or go into our Discord. Invite link is below, and go into the NCC-podcast channel and leave your questions right there. Alright guys, without further ado, we'll take a break here. I'll be back with Samantha and the news in about a minute. Hang tight, be right back. Swing into action on the Nintendo Switch anytime, anywhere with Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And thanks to Nintendo, you can watch Eddy traverse islands packed with platforming perfection and non-stop action as a classic Kong's in the original game, or mix things up by playing the story as Funky Kong in new Funky mode. Arctic invaders have turned Donkey Kong Island into their personal frozen fortress. It's up to you to save the day. Play as Donkey Kong in the original mode, and team up with Diddy Kong, Dixie, and Cranky Kong, each with their unique abilities to overcome platforming challenges and frosty foes. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, out now on the Nintendo Switch. Welcome back, guys. Yeah, episode 19, or almost at 20. Next week will, in fact, be our 20th podcast episode, so pretty awesome. I appreciate all of your support, guys. Good to see Sagan, Biwa, Hannah, Anita, our sponsor, Fluffy, Simon. How are you guys today? Happy podcast day. And I forgot last week to do this with the launching of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but we're going to have Funky Kong sit shotgun today on the podcast, so there he is. Yeah, I totally forgot last week, but there he is on the screen for you guys to see him. He's pretty awesome. Alright, so we have Samantha with us, and Samantha, welcome back to episode 19 of the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hard to believe we've been doing it this long.
I know, it's we're almost at E3 too, which is really cool, so we're going to be very, very busy here, I think, the next month or so, probably with twice as much information, if not more, to talk about. So, but we have a bunch of new games announced, some big announcements as well from Nintendo and other companies, and let's get right into it. So, regarding Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch, of course, a lot of you guys have been discussing this on social media and Twitter and Discord as well, and this is regarding the online service, which Nintendo just unveiled recently. And Samantha, you kind of want to go through everything here and kind of discuss things little by little, I guess, as we go through it.
All right, so they finally gave us some details about the online service. Of course, it will provide online gameplay, which has been free until now, but it will become part of the paid service once it launches. It will also come with cloud save data backups. Of course, the Nintendo Switch Online app, which they've been using for voice chat, and then a series of NES games with added online gameplay. So they've announced that there will be 20 games to start with, and they've listed, I believe, 10 of them so far that will be in this starting lineup, a lot of which have new specific types of multiplayer that I think are different depending on which game it is. But so they've got some new online functionality to go with the online service. And then they announced that the pricing will be for an individual, either $3.99 for a month, $7.99 for 3 months, or $19.99 for a whole year. There's also a year-long family plan available for $34.99. And for the family plan, you need to be in a family group that can include up to 8 people.
Awesome. So the pricing is pretty affordable, I think, for what we're getting. Plus, we'll probably learn more about this as it gets closer to launching. We were talking about this before the podcast started, and about getting the 20 games included with the service. We're just kind of talking back and forth if they're going to be able to be downloaded to the Switch or not, or will they expire, or how does that work? But I guess we don't know the exact answer for that, correct?
Not yet, no, because when they had originally mentioned it, it sounded like you'll only be able to have them for as long as your subscription is active. But in the new information, I don't believe they specified that. Okay. So hopefully they will make that clearer once it comes out.
Right. And then regarding the Switch Online app, so a lot of these online classic games will actually be using the online app as well, I guess, for voice chat too. So right now, I guess the app is just restricted to Splatoon 2 voice chat, I think, only. So they've been kind of waiting in the wings, I think, for the service to come full front and actually release. So hopefully the app gets more use now once this service launches. So that's good to know. Then, of course, we're all missing any kind of word on actual virtual console, right?
Yes, and so it's a little unclear what they mean by this, but they were asked by Kotaku about it, and they responded that there are no plans to bring classic games together under the virtual console banner, which some people have taken to mean that there's going to be no virtual console for the Switch. Other people have taken it to mean that they're going to be giving it a new name and still doing the same sort of thing. So we'll have to wait and see what they're doing with the virtual console idea.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a rebranding or something. It'd be kind of weird to see them ignore their entire back catalog and not have those games available in a portable or docked format in that kind of sense. So who knows? We'll see, guys, as we learn more. Good to see you guys in chat. We have Hannah saying, is this prices for the Switch online later in the fall? Yep, those are the prices for the online service right now, so it's very affordable. If you buy a candy bar a month, don't buy the candy bar and you can afford the service. It's pretty much pretty basic and pretty inexpensive compared to other services. So, and Simon says, you don't really use the online app. Either do I. If you have Discord, the online app is kind of not worth it right now. There's some other features added into the online app, though, too, as far as inviting between in Splatoon 2. You can invite people into your party or whatever, which is pretty cool. But I think as this service unfolds, the app will get a lot more attention, of course, with these other games coming, being that they're online compatible. All right, so with all that said, guys, we have a subscriber just joined us. Cool. Now, we also have a new product that Nintendo just is releasing, too, and this is a charging dock, right?
Yeah, so this is an adjustable charging stand. It's going to be out on July 13th and cost $19.99. And the big idea with this one is that you'll be able to adjust the angle, and you can use this to charge the Switch while you're using it in tabletop mode.
And this is pretty reasonable as far as price goes. It's only like 20 bucks, I believe, right? So that's not bad at all. And it's fully adjustable, so do look for that, guys. If you're looking for a charging dock. It looks pretty neat. All right, we got all kinds of announcements to talk about. We've got Waku Waku Dobutsu Land, and this is a collection of mini games, right?
Yes, it looks sort of like a party game style mini game collection. And so this is coming out in Japan on July 26th. So you can check out the trailer there. It has some cute animals involved.
Yeah, the entire cover art here is filled with animals as well. There's monkeys balancing on circus balls. There's penguins surfing and sliding on ice. All kinds of weird stuff. So it's like a fun little collection of games, actually. So take a look at this, guys. The trailer we have embedded on the website over at NintendoChitChat.com. And that, again, is Waku Waku Dobutsu Land, the collection of mini games, out physically and digitally for Japan. Very cool.
Yes.
Now, we have some big news, too. The next Warriors game is coming to the Switch and PS4, and that is Warriors Orochi 4. And that's planned for 2018, right?
Yes, so it'll be out later this year, and it is going to feature 170 playable characters, which is the most in the series, and 5 of these characters are going to be completely new.
Awesome. If you guys are fans of the Warriors games, of course, if you played Hyrule Warriors or Fire Emblem Warriors, this is where the kind of the classic series is here with the Warriors series. So hack and slash gameplay, 170 characters, pretty awesome roster there. So excited for this. 2018. We'll learn more about this probably at E3. All right. So we also have a game being localized for the 3DS. This is Jake Hunter, correct?
Yes, well, no, this is not the one that's being localized. This is a whole new one.
Oh, a whole new one. Cool.
So yes, so there is a Jake Hunter game we've discussed before that is being localized for the 3DS later this year. But now for Japan, they also announced a new entry in the series. We don't know yet if this one will be localized or not. Maybe it has to do with how well the 3DS game goes over. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
But, so this is called Jake Hunter Detective Story Prism of Eyes. And it looks like it's sort of a mix of old content and new content. So they said there's going to be 3 all-new scenarios, then 10 scenarios that were previously released for mobile devices. They'll be brought to this collection with new graphics, and also a parody mystery case. So there's going to be 14 total scenarios in this game.
Awesome. So it's like a pretty good deal then. And this is Jake Hunter Detective Story Prism of Eyes. So keep our eyes on that. You like that? All right, then we have an interesting game. I was watching the trailer here, and this looks pretty fun, actually. This is a 4-player local multiplayer game called Bataloon, or Batloon. And this has been announced for the Switch and PC, correct?
Yes, and so this is a competitive multiplayer game, and the title is a mixture of battle and balloon because you play as balloons and are trying to drive your opponents into spikes. So this is coming out next year in 2019.
It looks pretty fun and basic gameplay, but with that 4-player local multiplayer, looks pretty fun. I saw a cat with a rainbow as a balloon or something in the preview trailers, so it looks pretty interesting to me. The graphics are pretty much hand-drawn, but it looks fun, so keep your eyes on that.
I'm just going to chime in for the chat for a minute here. I believe for a family plan, you do not need to have the same Switch console. I believe they said you can have it across different consoles.
Oh, okay, that's really good to know then if that's the case. Cool. I think BWA Switch is asking that, so thanks, Samantha, for taking care of that. Cool. All right, so Nicholas here, continuing on with its hot streak, really supporting the Switch. We have a new crossover, and this is a color-matching puzzle fighting game, which looks pretty awesome. And this is called what?
Yes, this is called Crystal Crisis, and so the basic idea is that it's set up like a fighting game, but instead of fighting game gameplay, it is color-matching puzzle gameplay. So you do your puzzle, and that determines how well your character fights or the move that you can perform. I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, so this is going to be a crossover from various franchises. So they've listed 19 characters, which there's going to be characters from Cave Story, from Binding of Isaac, from the Tezuka Productions animation studio, from Code of Princess EX, from 1001 Spikes, from The Tempura of the Dead, from Akuji the Demon, from Castle Labyrinth, from Turbo Duo, and then 4 new characters from Nicholas games that haven't appeared before, although one of those 4 is also appearing in Blade Strangers, which has that similar sort of crossover concept.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, so Nicholas is really doing a lot of crossovers here, and we have some actually news to talk about later on in the podcast regarding Blade Strangers too. So, but this looks really awesome. I was watching the trailer; looks like it's very interesting as far as the gameplay goes. So, if you guys missed the trailer, check it out. It's embedded on the NintendoChitChat website. Crystal Crisis again coming out thanks to Nicholas, a color matching puzzle fighting game, which seems really awesome. Okay. We have a 3D animation novel called The Midnight Sanctuary coming to the Switch, PS4, and PC this summer. And what's the setting for this game?
Yeah, so this is set in an isolated village where they've got some like big religious themes, I believe. And so then someone shows up who appears to be a saint. And so then I understand some strange things will be happening because it's described as an occult suspense story. And so this idea with this 3D animation is interesting. I'm not entirely convinced by the trailer, but the story concept sounds interesting. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one.
Yeah, so this is Midnight Sanctuary then, and that's for this summer. So we'll learn more and pass it along to you guys. Okay, and then we have a whole bunch of stuff thanks to Idea Factory, and they've pretty much taken over the Switch, I believe. Is that wrong to say?
I think it's safe to say that Idea Factory has definitely come out in full force for the Switch, because I believe the announcements all came out on yesterday or possibly over the last couple of days. They announced 12
Wow.
Otome visual novels coming to the Switch.
That's incredible. That's pretty cool. You want to kind of cover most of these then? We'll kind of go through these.
Sure, yes. And so far, all of these have only been announced for Japan, so we'll have to wait and see if they're localized or not, although some of them have already been localized for other systems, so those ones seem like likely candidates, so we'll wait and see what happens. But anyway, they've announced Hakuoki Shinkai, which is a collection of Hakuoki Kyoto Winds and Hakuoki Edo Blossoms. That's coming to Japan on September 6th. They also announced Code Realize Bouquet of Rainbows, which includes Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth and Code Realize Future Blessings. That's coming on September 13th. They're bringing one that I believe is all new. It was originally announced for the Vita, but now it's unclear if it's coming to both or if they've simply switched to the Switch. That is Cindrillan Palika, I think is how you say that.
I think so, yeah.
And then there's another collection that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce, but that appears to be a new one that will be collecting past visual novels. That's coming to the Switch later this year as well. And so then that announcement was already a lot of news, but then they also announced that they're bringing an all-new Hakuoki title to the Switch, as well as one called Love or Pretend, a few more that I'm not going to pronounce, and then yeah.
That's okay.
And then some more ports of other ones like Sengoku Nightblood, Amnesia, Norn 9, and Rain de Fleur. So yeah, so a bunch of ports, but also a bunch of new ones, and so they have definitely come out in favor of the Switch. So if you like these sorts of visual novels, you're going to have plenty to choose from if they're localized.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad I have you here because I probably couldn't even get through one of those names at all in that list of 12 or so. So, wow. This is pretty cool, though, from Idea Factory. So they're really all in regarding the Switch. So that's great news. All right, guys. So we're moving on to some horror now, which is great. And this is the Japanese adventure game Angels of Death coming to the Switch this summer in Japan. And explain a little bit more about Angels of Death if you can, Samantha.
Yeah, so this one I couldn't find out too much about it, but it has an anime coming out soon, which I thought was interesting. So it is this sort of horror adventure game, and I think it is out on the PC now. And so now it's coming out with the anime too in the summer. So it looks like this is the Switch version is coming out maybe to coincide with that. And I believe it's episodic.
Okay.
And it seems like people liked it. So that's good to know. It has a very sort of creepy vibe from the trailer.
Yeah, and we have the trailer up for, I guess, the Steam version right now. There's no Switch trailer available yet.
Right.
So we have the Stream trailer embedded, guys. Take a look at that. You're probably getting that basic idea of what it's going to look like anyway on the Switch. So check out that trailer if you're interested in the title, Angels of Death. All right. Moving along then, we got some news that finally, it's like, I've been waiting for this for a while. And it's finally, NOA announced this. The Switch is finally getting Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. And that is coming August 28th. So it'll be a summer title, which is great. Usually a kind of a downtime, I guess, for bigger titles to be released. And this will be for $59.99. And of course, this is pretty much the port of the previous game, HD visuals. And this has been out in Japan, I think, since early last year, almost at Switch launch or something like that, I think, right? Yeah.
Right, and unfortunately, I believe they even said outright that the 3DS version is not being localized. So at least we have the Switch version.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Then we have the Switch version of Banner Saga. We have a date for that. That date will be May 17th, so a week from today. You can look for that to come out on the Nintendo Switch. We'll be taking a break here with Samantha. We'll come back with more news. Plus, we have your viewer questions, the Spotlight Star of the Week, and of course, the Time Portal 2, guys. So hang tight. Good to see everybody in chat. We'll be right back in a moment. Hang tight. Today's episode is brought to you by NintendoChitChat.com for the love of gaming. Our site is newly redesigned, so do check it out. It gives you quick and easy access to our Nintendo news article, our time portal, reviews, interviews, and so much more. Sign up for a free account to access our forums and live chat rooms, and make your own profile as well over at NintendoChitChat.com for the love of gaming. Alright guys, yes, NintendoChitChat.com is kind of newly redesigned. The past few months, we've taken out some of the clutter, making it easier to get the news and our time portal articles. Everything's at your fingertips right now, so check it out over at NintendoChitChat.com. And we have Samantha back with us. So Samantha, let's talk some more games and news, shall we?
All right.
So we have Crazy Justice, and this is I guess, Battle Royale game coming to the Switch. And they've confirmed their game for June, right?
Yes, no specific date yet, but we do know the month.
Okay, great. So within the next 4 to 6 weeks, looks like. So if you guys are craving a Battle Royale game, do check out Crazy Justice, coming out sometime in June. And we'll learn more. We'll pass it along. Now we have some delay regarding Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yeah, no, this is the opposite of a delay.
Oh, it is the opposite of a delay. Yes, we have it moving up, right?
Yes, it was supposed to be out on July 10th, I believe, but instead it's going to be out on June 29th.
Awesome.
So, the opposite of a delay.
Yeah, I was reading from right to left instead of left to right. I'm just kind of glancing at my notes here. So that's cool, though. I wonder why they actually did that. I wonder if there's other things in July that they want to get this before that comes out or something, or what?
I don't know. Although it could just be that they got further along in the process faster than they expected. I don't know, but it is interesting.
Yeah, it's really good news, unless you're broke, which probably a lot of us are, because there's so many good games coming out now. It's like you got to really kind of manage, like you got to pick and choose now of what you want to get on release day. So, but that's good news overall. So Switch owners look for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on June 29th, moving up from its July release date. All right, then we got a ton of news regarding Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection from Capcom. And Samantha can kind of go over this for us as well.
Yes, so they announced the Versus and Training modes. So first of all of the games in the collection will have a local multiplayer Versus mode. And so each stage in this Versus mode is also going to indicate which character originated in that stage. Then they also announced that there's going to be a training mode available for Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Those are quite confusing names.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yes, so you'll have a variety of different training options that you can turn on in this mode. And one of the interesting things here is that apparently they did not intend to include Versus and training modes in the collection, but because so many fans wanted them when the game was announced, they had decided to add them. So then these will be available on day one patch when the collection comes out on May 29th.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So Capcom doing some good work here for Switch. All right, so now we're talking about more Nicholas here. And this is some characters that are being added into Blade Strangers, right?
Yes, so I believe at the start of the week there were 4 characters from Blade Strangers that they had just said would be familiar guest characters or something to that effect. So they've released trailers for 3 of them so far, which will be Gunvolt from Azure Striker Gunvolt, Quote from Cave Story, and Isaac from The Binding of Isaac. So you can check out the character trailers for those 3.
Awesome. Yeah, when I first heard of Isaac coming, I put in Discord to Golden Hawk, one of our subscribers. He's a super fan of Binding of Isaac, so he was super hyped about that. And pretty cool to see these characters being included in Blade Strangers. So looking forward to that title when it comes out by Nicholas. Awesome. Now we have a Roguevania titled Dead Cells, which is due out in August. We'll also be getting a physical release at the same time as a digital one, so keep your eyes out for that. That's good news. Now we also got a new gameplay trailer for Lost Child. Anything new in this gameplay trailer, Samantha, for the Lost Child?
Nothing in particular, but if you're interested in seeing what it looks like, you can check it out. They show some of the dungeon crawling and some of the combat, and it has the basic style that you can expect from this sort of first-person dungeon RPG.
Great. Then we have a hype game here, Octopath Traveler. We have a new Japanese web commercial for this out right now, right?
Yes, and so this is a, I believe, 16-second video, so it's not very long. It does show a couple of new environments, but one of the interesting things is that it briefly shows the remaining 2 characters whom we've only seen in the cover art so far, and so it looks like they'll most likely have the names Cyrus and Ophelia.
Ah, so
just judging by the Japanese names that were in the trailer, they'll probably be Cyrus and Ophelia, which fits the remaining letters that we were missing because the 8 characters spell out Octopath.
Right,
So
awesome.
those are the 2 that we need.
Cool. So we have the link to the web commercial if you guys want to look at that yourselves then for Octopath Traveler. Again, it's very short, but do check it out if you're interested. All right, then we have an open beta actually coming for Switch owners if you're interested in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. This will run from May 10th, which is today actually, through the 14th, with 20 accessible characters. Then on May 14th, just 4 days away, an offline demo will be available with 4 characters. So if you're interested in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, check out the open beta for Switch. Again, May 10th through the 14th with 20 characters. And the offline demo, May 14th with 4 characters. Okay, and then we have an interesting job listing. And what is this for?
Yes, so in Japan, Nintendo posted a job listing for someone to be a level designer for the Legend of Zelda series. So this sounds that at least if they haven't started already, they're at least gearing up to start work on a new Legend of Zelda game.
Great, so that's good news. I'm looking forward to, hopefully we get more 2D Zelda games. Do you think that's the case?
That would be nice too, yeah. Or I would just like a return to the old sort of dungeon style.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of sad to see if they do away with 2D or top-down or whatever. I can't see them actually not doing that, so
Right.
because they're less of a budget to put those games out, and it's a different gameplay style too. So, but that's good news for the job listing. So Nintendo is actively moving forward with Legend of Zelda, of course. All right, then some 3DS news. Not too much, but just a little bit of information regarding Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. We have a new trailer, an overview trailer, and this shows what, Samantha?
Yeah, so this just gives a general overview of the gameplay. So it shows some of the combat, some of what you'll be able to do with Mii's. And so if you're interested in Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers, or if you don't know what it is, it's a good trailer to look at to get a nice overview of the gameplay.
Very cool. Then we have some interesting news to move along into, and I had to read this twice. I wasn't quite sure what it was. Did that happen to you as well? Like, what is this?
Well, I had a picture to go with it when I saw the news, so I
Okay.
knew right away what it was, but then I had to read it a couple of times to see how much of that actually was the name of the thing.
Right, right. You want to kind of cover this? So what are we looking at here for this industry news from Japan?
Yes, so on July 7th, Japan is going to get a special edition of the Mini Famicom, which is the Nintendo Classic Mini Family Computer Weekly Shonen Jump 50th Anniversary Edition. Yeah, so that's quite a thing to keep in mind. And so it's coming with its own selection of games, which I didn't list here, but I'm not sure if any of them cross over with the regular edition or not. So it'll be interesting to see how this does.
Right, I grabbed an image here. It's really blown up, so it's kind of pixelated and blurry, but I guess this is from a print ad or whatever it was from the original article when this announcement was made. I guess this is actually a golden system in color, too, I had saw. So I have a picture up there of the system, so the special edition for the 50th anniversary. So pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see what games they have on. I'm sure it'll probably be a different
They did have
catalog.
yeah, they did have the list. It looks like there's a bunch of Dragon Ball games.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what a lot of these are. Some Saint Seiya games. Dragon Quest is there.
Oh, nice.
It's such an interesting collection and an interesting title, or not title, but an interesting name for the device.
Yeah, especially, it's like 10 words in the names. Crazy. Now we have some really intriguing, little bit of hype push towards Splatoon 2. So Nintendo is set to reveal what for Splatoon? You
Yes, so I
don't know,
believe
right?
this was just mentioned in a magazine in Japan that on June 9th, which is right ahead of E3, Nintendo is going to reveal some Splatoon news that will shock the world. So everyone is speculating on what this might be. If it's just going to be the release of the expansion and people are overhyping it, or if they've got something else in mind.
Breaking news just in, a Judd Amiibo will be coming out for the Switch owners. A Judd Amiibo. Just kidding, I have no idea. I would love a Judd Amiibo though, but yeah, I'm kind of curious about this. So maybe some more playable characters or something that they didn't talk about, or yeah, who really
I'm
knows?
going to bet on some sort of a spin-off. That's my bet. I'm going to say they're going to announce some sort of spin-off, either an anime or a different genre of game or something, some sort
Right.
of spin-off.
Well, remember, I'm not sure if you guys remember in the original Splatoon, during the E3 announcement for the Wii U version, there was this little like 2D kind of retro mini game that was in Splatoon, but they took it out on release. We never saw it again. Some thought it might be like a 3DS game or something like that eventually or whatever, so who knows? But yeah, so this will be really interesting to see here as we get closer into June, just ahead of E3 regarding Splatoon. Let us know in chat what you guys think what this news is going to be, and if you're right, we will bow down to you. And Fluffy says he would love a Judd Amiibo. Me too. I love Judd. He needs more love. I want a big one like the Detective Pikachu. Nice big fat Judd on the Amiibo. Okay. Then we have some things to wrap up here, the news. We have tournament news, and this is regarding the Super Smash Bros. Invitational, right?
Yeah, so this is just a little video that Nintendo released introducing some of the players who will be competing in it. I don't think it's all of them because at the end of the video it says that there will be others. So if you're interested in the tournament, you might want to take a look.
Awesome. All right, that wraps up all the news here, guys. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with Samantha. We'll be doing your questions. And of course, our player spotlight of the week and our issue 15 of the Nintendo Time Portal. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by NintendoChitChat.com for the love of gaming. Our site is newly redesigned, so do check it out. It gives you quick and easy access to our Nintendo news article, our time portal, reviews, interviews, and so much more. Sign up for a free account to access our forums and live chat rooms, and make your own profile as well over at NintendoChitChat.com for the love of gaming. Today's episode is brought to you by NintendoReport.com. Fresh gaming news every 20 minutes. When you visit the homepage, you'll find direct information from Nintendo themselves. We source their YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr accounts. Maybe you want even more details? Click on Nintendo Franchise News. Here we source the main franchises for Nintendo directly from the Facebook pages for The Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart, Super Mario, and Splatoon. If you want more Nintendo news, click on Other Nintendo News. Here we source the main media outlets that cover Nintendo. Outlets such as Nintendo Everything, Nintendo Life, Game Explain, Nintendo Today, Nintendo Enthusiast, and more. Again, updated every 20 minutes. And don't forget the NCC feed for NintendoChitChat.com. You'll find the latest details here from our website, directly sourced here, all for you. NintendoReport.com, fresh gaming news every 20 minutes. And we are back from our last break. We got a new segment with you guys. This will be pretty fun. We have your questions here. If you want to submit questions for our future podcast, a couple of ways to do it. Email us, NintendoChitChat@gmail.com. NintendoChitChat@gmail.com, or go to Discord. Invite link is below all of our videos. Pretty easy to find. And go into hashtag NCC-podcast channel and submit your questions there. Any kind of Nintendo-related gaming questions are fine. And we'll pick a few every week to discuss right here. All right, Samantha, I'm ready for some questions this week.
All right, let's go.
And thanks to Samantha, too. She actually gave us this idea to do, so this will be pretty fun to do, I think, every week. Okay, so we had, let me see, this first question is brought to you by, it's submitted by Golden Hawk, actually. So Golden Hawk, thank you very much. He asks, what are the chances of games with a darker subject matter coming to the Switch? Then he lists an example of Lisa, the Painful RPG. And you can kind of take off with that, Samantha, if you like, then I'll kind of answer as well.
All right, yeah, I don't think there's any problem with the darker subject matter coming to the Switch. I haven't played Lisa in particular to know what it includes, but I know we do already have a bunch of horror games on the Switch that includes some dark subject matter. There's also stuff like that indie game Blasphemous that was on Kickstarter that's being localized. So yeah, I think there's a great chance of games with darker subject matter coming to the Switch, and there are already some on it, so...
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a Darkest Dungeon I was also thinking of, where your party members can start suffering from stress and paranoia and because you're forcing them to fight horrible monsters and things like that.
Right, yeah, I mean, the Switch has a bunch of mature rated games already, and that kind of goes in line with this darker subject matter, so yeah, I agree. Also, the Switch is region free, so anything that doesn't get localized, you can actually just import if you want to. Yeah, so I agree. There's really nothing that I could see Nintendo denying unless it's something that's totally offensive or off the wall that wouldn't be appropriate for some reason. But more that's probably relegated to something that's more ripped off of something else or copyright infringement, I would guess. So yeah, I agree. But we have a bunch of horror games already on the system, and Yeah, I don't know much about Lisa, the Painful RPG either, but Golden, if you know anything regarding that game that would stick out, that would make it not something Nintendo would like, let me know in Discord. But I don't think anything would really be held back by Nintendo at all. So, but good question. Thanks, Golden, for that. That's Golden's question. Moving along, we have a question by Hector, MSR Gamer. And this is kind of multifaceted, I think, depending how you answer it. But do you think the 3DS will die out this year? And I'll kind of kick things off, I guess, with this. And I think no. I think sales are pretty much still pretty solid for the system. And of course, the Nintendo's still supporting the system, as well as some third parties too. So we have support going into 2019 still. So I think for the next couple of years, you're going to be seeing the 3DS sold. But as far as interest in the system, I do see it kind of waning, especially probably over the next year now, with the Switch getting more and more games from third parties and stuff. I think it will be a couple of years till we see the 3DS totally off of the shelves. What do you think, Samantha?
Yeah, well, if we're talking about interest, I think there will be a lot of people who stick with it because, well, I mean, not necessarily people buying new ones, people who came to it late and are still catching up on games that are already out, or people who just play their old systems for a while. Like I've got my DS out to play a Game Boy Advance game, things like that.
Right.
But for support, every time I've predicted, all right, now they're going to back off from the 3DS, they've announced new 3DS games.
Right.
Like you said, we've got some coming out in 2019 even. But I would expect that they're going to stop making like really big titles. Like they did say they're going to support it some more, but maybe just like a couple here and there, maybe some more ports or some more remakes like we see with Luigi's Mansion coming out. Of course, they could prove me wrong and have a surprise 3DS section at E3 where they announce all sorts of things. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to start dying down.
Yeah, I think as well. And of course, the 3DS is where the Virtual Console is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing to consider, if the Switch is not getting a Virtual Console, you have some titles in the Virtual Console in the 3DS. So
Right.
I see that. And plus, it's a great entry system for kids. It's, what, $80 for a 2DS or whatever. I think the new 2DS is like $150. That probably even come down this year, closer to $100 or $130 probably. So yeah, it's very affordable. There's a big catalog. Plus, it supports DS games physically with the backwards compatibility. So yeah, I think a couple years yet. But good question, Hector. Thanks very much for that, MSR Gamer. All right, third question for today. This is by Cumulative. What crazy third-party announcements at E3 do you want, or of course at other events too? So coming this year, anything regarding crazy stuff that you're looking forward to, Samantha? What do you think?
Well, when I was thinking about this question, I basically came up with 3 answers because I could see the question being interpreted in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're saying something like a game that already exists that we would like to see ported to the Switch, that seems unlikely. After thinking about it a while, I thought about Psychonauts because I was actually surprised. I don't think that's ever been out on a Nintendo console, but it seems like a good fit with its sort of colorful, weird, quirky platforming style. So I would like to see that if we're talking about older games. If we're talking something that hasn't been announced but seems theoretically possible, I'm still holding out hope for a Xenosaga HD collection, especially since we've seen proof with like Cosmos in Xenoblade that Bandai Namco seems willing to work with Monolith Soft, at least for cameos, so maybe they could do a collection too. And if we're talking something that hasn't even been announced, that's just a completely out there third-party announcement we'd like to see announced for the Switch, I would go with a prequel to Tales of Symphonia.
Very nice. This question's kind of open-ended, like you said, depending on how you're interpreting things here. I have a few things that have been already discussed mostly, either by developers and publishers or, of course, gamers themselves. And that's regarding Bethesda possibly bringing a Fallout 4 or even New Vegas to the Switch, which I think would be a really good fit for that franchise. And, of course, Diablo or Hearthstone. And I'd like to see a new Sonic Racing Transformed game as well. That was a great kart racing game, probably only behind Mario Kart as far as gameplay and mechanics go. So Love to see more of that, but who knows? If those come true, that'd be super awesome. But let us know in chat and in Discord as well, after the podcast. What would your crazy third-party announcements be? Let us know. All right, and we have our last question here. This has been submitted to us by Silver Fox Hannah. And how do you feel about Nintendo Labo? And you want to kind of start with this one, Samantha?
Well, with Nintendo Labo, of course, at first I was very unsure about it, but then once they showed more things, and then especially once it came out, I think that I'm not exactly its target audience, but for who its target audience is, I think it seems pretty cool. Actually, looking at some of the stuff, I would be kind of tempted to try it, except that I'm not very much of a crafty building things sort of person, so it might not go well. But I think it seems like a cool concept, especially with that sort of toy focus that it has, especially the variety pack. The robot I'm still not entirely sold on, but the variety pack I think is a great idea for this sort of toys and focused more on a younger market.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way. I think it's great. Another great little branch for Nintendo to kind of delve into, and it helps the Switch, of course, as well with branding and things like that. And I really think this is great for children, after-school clubs, organizations. If you have a Switch, this is a great kind of educational and constructive way to learn really about science, what it comes down to. And you can see that by having Nintendo actually doing some collabs with Bill Nye the Science Guy in some commercials. So.
Oh. I didn't know that. I'll
yeah,
take a look
there
at
was
those.
a commercial actually of him with some Nintendo employees putting them together and playing with them. So that was out a couple weeks ago, I think. So yeah, check it out. But yeah, I don't think it's for me. I don't really want to have the time of putting everything together. I want instant satisfaction. Yeah, I think it's really cool though. So I think they'll continue with it, and I think it will be a good little branch for them to go about in the next few years too, to see what they can do with it for Nintendo Labo. So thanks for your question, guys, all of you. Thanks, Hector, Golden, Cumulative, and Hannah. Again, guys, easy to submit your questions to us. NintendoChitChat@gmail.com, or go to Discord and go into the Nintendo NCC podcast channel and leave your questions there. The more questions, the better. That way we can kind of pick and choose 3 or 4 every week for you to bring onto the podcast. So thanks very much, guys. Moving along to our player spotlight, we had Dank Meme last week. In our player spotlights, we kind of spotlight a certain subscriber thanks to all of their support through comments, in Discord, and live streams, and video uploads. And this week, it's JKW Star, or JKW123 Star, I should say. He's actually a sponsor of ours, too. So JKW, congratulations. You are the NCC Player Spotlight this week. All of you watching, go into Discord and tag him and saying, hey, Laggy Raccoon is his other name. Say, hey, Laggy. Say, congratulations. You're the NCC Player Spotlight of the week. All right, it's time for Nintendo Time Portal issue 15. Samantha, are you ready?
Yep.
Awesome. So number 15. All right, so we have some really fun things to talk about this week. We're going to kick things off with Castlevania. And what are the dates for this?
Yes, so this fits for May 6th, 8th, and 9th. And so this is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance. This was the third and final Castlevania game on the Game Boy Advance. And so it came out on May 6th, 2003 in North America, then on May 8th in Japan, and on May 9th in Europe. So we celebrate all 3 of those anniversaries this week. And for a lot of people, this is one of the best Castlevania games.
And you know what? I was just going to say, I never played this title before, but a lot of the early Castlevania games are some of the best, too. So if you guys are looking for some Castlevania, yeah, definitely go back to the earlier games, the NES and the Game Boys, Game Boy Advance games. They're really good games. But I never played this before. Did you play this version or this title?
No, I haven't gotten too far into the Castlevania series, although I've always wanted to. But I did play the original Castlevania from the Virtual Console on the Wii U, actually.
Oh, cool.
And that was as far as I got. But I do plan to play more.
There's a lot of Castlevania games, so it's kind of, it's like, where do I start, right? But you started at the very beginning, so that's good. That's the best. All right, then we have May 7th. We have Mario Party 3 coming to North America for the N64. And any other information regarding Mario Party 3?
Yes, well, I just found it kind of interesting that I had just talked about Aria of Sorrow, which was the third and final Castlevania entry on the Game Boy Advance. And so Mario Party 3 was the third and final entry on the Nintendo 64. And so this came out in North America on May 7th, 2001. And so this used a lot of the same features from the previous games, but also expanded them, and had 8 playable characters for the first time, with Waluigi and Daisy being added.
Oh, cool. Man, 17 years ago, this is, wow. This time portal makes me feel so old sometimes. But Mario Party is a great franchise, and I can't wait for the next series, or the next version of the game to come out to the Switch, hopefully. All right.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah. So May 9th then brings us to really cool little puzzle kind of game. This is the Mario and Donkey Kong series, and this is Minis on the Move. And what date was this dating back to?
Yeah, so this came out on the 3DS eShop on May 9th, 2013. And so this was the puzzle game where you had to create paths for these little mini characters. And this was the, was this the 5th Mario versus Donkey Kong game, maybe?
I believe so. There's been quite a few. Yeah, I believe so. Because we had one
and of course,
after
it
this
also had a
too.
level creator.
Yeah, level creator. That's right. Yeah, I think we had one on the Wii U then, actually, which used Amiibo. I think as well. So
right.
Yeah, but this was right before that, I think. So this is for the 3DS. Very cool. Cool little series of games. So if you have played the Mario and Donkey Kong series, do check it out. They're pretty cool. All right, and then we have, this is actually really interesting to me. I didn't actually know of this before. So May 12th, this is the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and this is My Life as a King, comes to North America. And this was a WiiWare title, right?
Yes, so the Crystal Chronicles series is kind of interesting because I guess they're all set in the same universe, but they have various styles of gameplay. So the original Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which was on the GameCube, I believe, was an action RPG. Well, this one, My Life as a King, which came out on May 12, 2008 in North America, like you said, as a WiiWare title, this was a city building game. And it was set in the same universe, set after the events of the original Crystal Chronicle. And I got the impression that it was pretty popular, both as a Final Fantasy spin-off and as one of the best WiiWare games.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of it. Go figure. That's kind of cool, though.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've played the original Crystal Chronicles and never any of the others. I don't think I even realized that it was a completely different genre until I looked into it.
Right. That's why I love the time portal. There's always something I learn from this. I'm sure you guys do as well. So we have Anita saying that she loves Mario Party. That's great. And surprisingly enough, Hannah never played Mario Party. So you should get to that, Hannah, definitely. Mario Party is a great franchise. Go watch some of the earlier ones if you can, though. But the 3DS ones are pretty good, too, especially, let me see, Star Rush is pretty good, and the 100, I think, was good, too, with the collection of minigames from previous entries in the franchise. So, all right, Samantha, great. Good job on everything this week, and we'll see you next Thursday, I believe. I have to check my schedule before I know for sure, but anything you want to cover or talk about before we head out?
Just one brief thing that I'm going to mention is that apparently there was a big data mining of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which resulted in a lot of information that seems to say what the story expansion DLC will be. So we won't talk about it here because it involves spoilers, and of course it's not even an official announcement, it's just a probable leak. But if you're interested in that, you can easily find information about that where people are discussing Xenoblade Chronicles.
Awesome. Very cool information. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Samantha, again. Great job, and we'll talk to you then next week.
All right.
All right, everybody have a good weekend. And we have Funky Kong here sitting in shotgun today. Everyone say goodbye to him. I'm Eddy Ray from NintendoChitChat.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Episode 19 is in the can. We'll see you guys right back here next week. Thanks for watching and listening. I'm out.